Alright, it's definitely windy, but I'm gonna try and do my best. Currently on my way to the studio for my first Fashion Week show of the season. It's gonna be a motorcycle. It's definitely going to be a smaller fashion week than usually happens, but I'm still excited to go see everybody, do the show, and yeah, I'll see you guys inside.
Fashion Week. I don't remember everything that I did during Fashion Week. I almost remember nothing at some points. Some things I only remember because I took a video of them. Fashion Week is supposed to be something that you remember super well, or that at least is memorable. But I've been through it a bunch of times, and to be honest, each time feels more chaotic and like less distinct from the others. So I shot a bunch of footage and I'm just gonna ramble, and if the footage lines up with what I'm rambling about, I'm gonna try and put it on the screen. I don't remember everything. I remember a few things, and what I remember, I'm gonna try and tell you guys. So I only did one CFDA show this year, and it was for New York Men's Day. We used to have a whole New York Fashion Week for men, except now it's been distilled down to just one small minuscule day, which is kind of unfortunate because I think we had a good thing going when there was like a week of shows, a whole bunch of designers for male models to get a chance to show themselves. And now in order to do that, you would need to go over to Europe, and that's kind of it. There's not a ton of shows in New York for guys. So my CFDA show was Clara Son. She is a Korean designer, graduated from Parsons and FIT. She's super cool. She was so sweet. It was really great working with her. I was on my way to the studio. I took some selfies. I was feeling myself. I was looking good. And then we went inside. There was this whole security process. You had to get pre-checked beforehand that you had your vaccine and your booster shot. So that was fairly important. I get to the studio and it's a mess, as it usually is for Fashion Week. What I end up doing is just kind of finding my way around until I got a little snack. But really what they wanted to do was get me in the chair as soon as possible. And when you get into the chair, they're gonna do one of two things to you. They're gonna put crazy makeup on you, or they're gonna do something insane to your hair. And this time it was hair. So it was going to take a much longer time. I had no idea what they wanted to do with my hair until it finally appeared.
So can you explain to me what's going on with my hair right now?
You're creating small waves that come around your hairline.
Okay, kind of like circles.
Pushing down the top here so it stays flat, and then under these are like pink cones.
Fantastic.
Yo, this is what they did to my hair. It looks absolutely insane right now. But I think after it dries, it'll look a little bit cooler. Updates to come. And I remember coming home after that, and unfortunately I was covering the microphone on my phone, basically talking about how they put a million bobby pins into my hair, and I was gonna be taking bobby pins out of my hair for weeks on end, because actually that's happened before. They've just put so many bobby pins in my hair that I just keep pulling them out as I shower. It's insane. Alright, this is the final look before I get into my clothes, and I'll maybe see you after that. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to film the clothing. I'll put the pictures up either way. See you then. The theme for the design, or this presentation, or whatever this was, this show, it wasn't a runway show, it was a presentation, which means you just stand there for 2 hours. You're kind of a monolith, you're a statue. You just stand at whoever comes into the room and you stare them down and you give them like a look for their picture. Presentations are really hard on models because you just stand for 2 hours without a break. Sometimes people get to sit, but normally it's just standing. So they're doing my hair, I'm trying to get some footage, I'm talking to people, trying to be as charming as I can, make as many friends on set. Because the thing about Fashion Week is that it's actually a very social time. There's not a whole lot of periods during the year where there's a ton of models all convening together and they're all working together. Normally, if you see another model, you're usually competing with them for the same job. And I'm fine with that, I'm fine with meeting new people, but not everyone is. So Fashion Week ends up being a very kind of communal, social event for the fashion industry, which I find really cute and charming. They're putting stuff in my hair, I'm going between the makeup table and then the hair table, and then I get my clothes put on, my costume, my clothes, the design, and then I go back into the hair, and then I look like a surgeon at some point because I have these white boots on, these blue, almost scrub-like clothes. They're really like cool and futuristic, but they kind of look like scrubs. And then I've got this hairnet in so that my hair doesn't get messed up before the presentation happens. One of the models said, "Hey, you look like you're a surgeon," and then I just had to like go for some Grey's Anatomy look or something like that. There were also these dancers that just were clawing around like these human moving sculpture thingies, and the whole theme was Greek, modern, you know, men, something. Should I look up the theme? Oh, there's an article about us in Vanity Teen. Look at that. The designer's approach is known for looking for new designs. Her perspective on the two faces of masculinity and the vulnerability of men brings a post-genderism to her elegant and minimalist style. I couldn't have said it better myself because I literally just had to look it up. Oh wow, these photos are great. I am going to take some of these and put them on screen for you right now to see. Ah, that one's of me. That's great. Awesome. Okay. After looking like a doctor, after everything else, suddenly we have 1 minute to practice the mini walk that we're going to do, and then we lock in for 2 hours. I've never done a presentation longer than, I think, 65 minutes before, and this was 2 hours. But I was exhausted by the end of it, and I was so grateful and so happy to be in the show. But after we were done, I had such a hard time like being my normal, charming, wonderful self with everyone, because I wanted to go home. I wanted to wash my hair. I wanted to just stop existing and just kind of dissolve into a shower. That's really what I wanted. So that was day one. Now, I was supposed to do another show for this client that I've worked for in the past, Private Policy. I love you guys, but you dropped me right before the show, so I have no story about that. I did their show in September, and I did their lookbook a whole year ago for their fall winter 2021, and those pictures were great. They ended up all over the place, Vogue Runway and everywhere. It was great. They've been very kind to me. It just didn't work out this time. These things happen. In Fashion Week, you can be confirmed for a show, go to the fitting, try the clothes on, know the designer, and you can get dropped from the show just kind of randomly. So you never really take it personally. It's just how Fashion Week goes. And I don't know if I have anything from this other presentation that I did. I think there's some photos that the designer just sent me, but there was this Cantonese designer that I had been following for a while. She messaged me last minute on the last day of Fashion Week that she was doing some sort of presentation. And she asked if I could step in for one of the models who had canceled on her. And I sent it through my agency, we confirmed it, and then I showed up to a hotel, and it was weird. It wasn't like a normal show, and by normal I mean like a CFDA show, and it wasn't like a tier 2 show, and by tier 2 I mean like a secondary Fashion Week show or like a designer showcase. This was just a bar, a hotel, a lobby bar, and we were standing there, and there was other people showing clothes as well, but it was mainly just like us wearing these crazy inventive designs up front, and then kind of like a trade show happening and free booze with an open bar and a DJ. Very bizarre Fashion Week, what can you really say? So the story in the lobby bar didn't really have a whole lot of excitement to it. There was like a fake runway thing. I don't really know. It was just kind of meet some Parsons students and stand there, and I got a lot of compliments. There was this one guy. Oh my God, there was this one guy. So there was this guy at the show, and this happens a lot. It doesn't happen every time, but this does happen a lot, where some guy will see me and then they'll think something about me. So his friend came up to me right after I went to the bar to get a drink, as is my right, open bar, you know, gotta get something. And I was working, and it's kind of weird when someone approaches you while you're working to pay you a compliment. It's even weirder when their friend approaches you, because it makes you think like maybe there's something more that's going on. You don't really know. Either way, they approached me, they were very sweet, but then they were like, this man, my friend right here, he wants to marry you. And I was like, okay, that's too much. That's too much. It's not the first time that someone's been very, let's say, generous and warm, but that's not the kind of generosity I'm looking for when I'm working, unfortunately. Some people might take it as a very high compliment, and it was very flattering. Anyways, that was the most eventful thing that happened that night, but it was really nice to finally get to work with this designer who I had been following on Instagram for so long. Number one, because I love working with Asian designers. I love to keep the Asian fashion community afloat. Not keep it afloat, I'm not the one carrying it on my back, but you know, I like to interact with the Asian fashion community. I think it's very important because we need to look out for each other. And number two, the second thing that I really liked about this show was the designs. They were really cool. Apparently she made these cubes out of wires and soldering in a 21-day quarantine while she was doing a layover in Hong Kong to keep her citizenship or something. And then she just took these sculptures and formed them into a bunch of different clothing. And I found that really cool. Like that you can have that idea and think that that's a really cool idea and then make something out of it. So that was my fashion week this year. I will probably do another one of these videos in September, and hopefully I'm doing more shows then. If I'm not, it's okay. But I hope you guys found something interesting in this video, a little behind the scenes of how the fashion world works and the chaotic nature of New York Fashion Week. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. If you would subscribe to my channel, it would mean the whole world to me. And leave a comment if anything was particularly funny or interesting to you. I'll hope to catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much.